Hi and welcome back, my name is Emily Hessler. This video is a part of a blog hop to celebrate that Trinity Stamps turns 1. With this blog hop there is a huge release and I'm gonna use one of the new stamp sets that are being released today. That one is called Sweet Surprise. You can see I have stamped out a lot of the images from this stamp set just so I can see how they looked. And I'm gonna use this large cupcake here. I'm tracing this image onto a masking paper because we're going to do a technique where I'm going to foil this upper part of this cupcake. I haven't seen anybody else do this, but it doesn't mean that anybody haven't done it. It probably is somebody has done it before me, but I was really curious if I could make this work. So this was an experiment for me as well, and you can see I've actually sped this up I think 8 times, so I went really slowly around all of these parts, and I actually wanted this middle part to stay intact, so I went carefully around it. The blue piece behind it is just a scrap piece of paper. I wanted this mask to be a little bit thicker so I could get my transfer gel to stay on a nice thickness. I sprayed it with some pixie spray from, I believe it's from Thermoweb. And now I'm gonna go over it with my Thermoweb or Decofoil transfer gel. And you can see I'm just using my spatula here and trying to get an even coat. That is something I learned. The better coating you get, the more even it is, the better foiling it will be. So here I'm carefully peeling off my mask. You can see how it turned out. Or actually you might not be able to see how it turned out because it's white on white, but it's there, and you will see when we put the transfer the foil on top and run it through the laminator how it turned out. So you can see after a while I let this dry and then I run it through my laminator. You can see here I'm just speeding this up a little bit too, and I'm using a foil called Rainbow Shattered Glass, and this is just beautiful. So here it is. I'm just making sure that it cools down a little bit, and then I'm gonna peel it off, and it always like magic. Look at it. And this was actually really exciting. I was so happy that it turned out the way I wanted it to be. I will definitely do this technique in the future with some other stamps that I have in my stash as well. And I like that this was a large one, so you get a lot of that foil onto the paper. So here you can see some of the parts didn't transfer perfectly, and it wasn't actually that it didn't transfer, it was more like my mask didn't fit perfectly on top of the stamped image. So I'm just fixing that with a black marker, and I don't think anybody could notice that the mistake was there, or mistake, that it wasn't perfect from the beginning. There are coordinating dies for this stamp set, but I didn't have them, or I don't have them, so I went ahead and fussy cut this image out, and I'm just leaving a little bit of a white border around this whole image, just because I think it's gonna look good with our background later on. So I wanted this to be the focal point of this card, since we did all of that masking and foiling. So I just kept the bottom part of this really simple, taking some gray Copic markers, just making it look like it's white or pale gray. Then I'm using a stencil from Altenew called Sunburst, and I also used ink from Altenew. I think it was Silverstone, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. My images is so small when I'm doing this voiceover, so it's kind of hard sometimes to see what exact supplies you used. So I'm running my ink pad along all the edges as well, just because I wanted some definition between the white paper and the white paper. And I also used my scissor to make sure my card base was perfectly. I cut out a sentiment that I previously had stamped out. I'm gonna adhere this flat down to the card base, our card panel here that we inked. I actually think that it's really light gray. Yeah, it is. And then we're gonna pop this large cupcake up with some foam tape. And I'm just placing them down and then ripping off the release paper. For the sentiment, you could see that I cut it apart just because I thought it looked funny when it was all a long strip. So I wanted it to be more appealing to the eye when it was cut down to smaller pieces. And I used some foam tape on the back of this as well. So if you're interested in any of the other products that have been released today, make sure you stop by Trinity Stamps blog, and you can start your hopping along in this blog hop there, or you can actually follow the link down below and you can start at my blog post if you want to. All the supplies are linked down below, and I hope you like this video and will give it a try and get inspired. So until next time, I hope you have a great day. Bye!